Hi there, welcome to the episode. Have you ever experienced this? That God asks you to do something and you feel resistant to do it? Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. It is such an honor to be here today, and I'm just so excited to talk. And happy Easter!
Yeah, and honor is all mine. So in the introduction, I already tell people all your awesomeness. And in this part of the conversation, we really just want to dive straight into what is that one turning point that God inspired you to do something different in your business, or God changed the direction for some of my other guests, and then what is the result from that?
Yes. Well, as I was thinking through kind of the question and everything, the one thing that I felt like the Lord laid on my heart was both kind of personal and business, because as an entrepreneur, those two segments are kind of weaved together. So back in 2017, I really felt the Lord began to nudge me to be a good steward financially. And so what that meant for me was to get out of debt personally. So for me, there was some student loans from college, there's a little credit card debt, some things like that. But he wanted me to absolutely take care of that. And so as I began to be obedient to that, and there was a little resistance at first, and make that sacrifice over the next 2 years, in hindsight, I can see what the Lord was doing. At the end of 2019, I was able to be absolutely debt free. And it was such a freedom and a weight lifted. But what resulted is, as we know, in March of 2020, the pandemic hit. So as a business owner in the events industry, events came to a screeching halt. And what was able to come from my obedience that the Lord had told me to do was that my business was able to thrive through that time. And I was not stressed out. And I was able to just to continue my business, to be able to run, to be able to refund clients and not be stressed because of that financial decision that I made to be a good steward ahead of time.
Wow. So you see, basically God kind of sits everything ahead, right? Ahead of the pandemic. We wouldn't know. Nobody know that was coming. So that is a very interesting story because yes, events, because I know your company mainly do events, luxury events for people. So people probably now hear that say, oh, so what do you mean that your event business did not go down and thrive? So can you share with us that?
Yes. So mainly we do in-person events. So conferences, we had the honor of doing the KDE conference in November of last year, but birthday parties, weddings. So all of those are in-person events. And during COVID, obviously, people weren't allowed to meet in person. And so that aspect of our business completely went away. So in the year of 2020, where we normally have anywhere around 50 to 75 events per year, we had 4 events that year. So that you can see just a significant impact financially from a revenue standpoint. We had to reschedule a lot of our events, push them out, and keep, so we weren't able to meet. We were able to do some things on Zoom like this, but there was really a direct financial impact to our business, and where a lot of our counterparts and other businesses were having to close their doors because financially they were having to let their team go. They couldn't pay all of their bills because of the impact financially. And we were able to, just because we had really been, I'd been smart financially and kept a really tight ship and just ran things very financially wise in the way that the Lord directed me, that we were able to keep our doors open, to keep our team members, and really just keep things running until life came back in 2021 for us to be able to start doing smaller, intimate events.
That's awesome. So I will say that lesson from here is, well, obviously one, again, while we have resistance when God asks us to do something, but this is another case of, I call it ROO at the display. So ROO standing for return of obedience. So, well, I mean, Sarah wouldn't know. I mean, none of us know, right? When God asked her to say, hey, let's focus on pay off your personal debt and all that, nobody knows that what gonna bring in the next 2 years, right? So if you are one of those people, you now hear this episode, you listen to this episode, or you're watching us in YouTube later on, that if you feel God is kind of tap on your shoulder or nudge on your heart to do something may not make sense even, that just go ahead to do it. Because he's a God see all, but we don't, right?
Yes.
So Sarah, can you, before we wrap up, can you kind of share with us that, do you then have that struggle, that moment, right? When God asks you to, focus on to pay over debt and things. And what, because we want to be real. This is always the focus in this podcast, right? We want to be real to our audience, because we know that although it makes sense to pay off your debt, right? But can be other situation, God asks us to do something and in the nature doesn't make sense. So did you struggle when God asked you to do that? And how did you overcome that struggle to say, okay, then let me do this? By the way, this episode is sponsored by our very own She Inherited Founder Academy. What is She Inherited Founder Academy? It's a premier community for Christ-centered female founders to start, grow, and scale your online business elegantly. We focus on identity-aligned positioning, compassion-driven marketing, and confidence-fueled selling to establish your business and solid ground for accelerated growth. In short, real women build real business and serve a real God. Inside the community, we focus on 4 key areas, but not limited to. We talk about, first of all, you becoming the CEO that God has called you to be. We talk about biblical principle for business, clarity on your short-term and long-term goals, and build a bridge between where you are now to where you want to be. Learn how to steward 5 essential areas in your business and life, master the business legal and administration and finance and so on. How to articulate the value of your offers, how to create that sell-out offer suite for your business, and which platform you should choose, what kind of content machine you should build in order to solidify your foundation, and also to be able to attract the right type of clients and generate the income and impact as well. So if you're one of those Christ-centered female founders and you would like to have a community like this to support you at a very, very reasonable price, well, we have a founding member price promotion at the moment. Just go to kellybutler.com/founder for detailed information.
Yes. It was definitely kind of a struggle in the beginning. So here are some practical things that I did to kind of pay off the debt, which also kind of speaks to where the struggle, the wrestle was just in the flesh. And so I committed to only going out to dinner once a month with friends. And so that caused, having to be intentional with who I was going to go out to dinner with or what I was going to celebrate. And also having to have honest conversations with my friends of saying, hey, I really want to celebrate this birthday dinner. However, I have chosen to be obedient and a good steward of my money. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend. I didn't travel for 2 years. So I had to decline. I was actually thinking about this in preparation. One of my friend's weddings was in Florida, and I was unable to go to her wedding because I had to be faithful and a good steward. So there were some very tangible things that it was a wrestle of like, I could just go. But one of the things I actually found a note I'd written to myself in April of 2019, where the Holy Spirit had convicted me. I'd purchased a dress, and it was that little voice that was like, did you need to purchase that dress? And I was like, well, it was cute though, and I could wear it to this event. And it was, well, could that money go towards any bills or any debt or anything like that? And so I ended up actually wrestling with that for a little bit, and I actually returned the dress. And in the moment, it felt silly. It wasn't that expensive. But in hindsight, we can see how your ROO, how that obedience, there was such a return and such a blessing on my business and on my life. And now I'm so able, I have such financial freedom to be able to steward it and give in aspects, and both personal and business. So if I need to donate some money to the church or donate some money to a person, I'm able to do that. But then also in my business, if we get a nudge and I'm able to discount a rate for someone, or if I'm able to pay my team members extra for gas for driving further or something like that. We have we just have the ability now to be such a generous company and to be an amazing steward and to be, in the Bible, it says we want to be lenders, not borrowers. And so that for me was something that that was really the push of where I wanted to stand firm and just really be a good steward of that.
So you guys can see that, right? That impact actually is not just, years back when just pay off her personal debt, but also now, right? So Sarah just shared that and that's the reason why now she can choose to be generous when she's led, and it's such a freedom, right? So I think this is in the financial area, and no matter in which area, when God asks us to do something, it's always a multi-fold. It's always and a lot of time it's not only for us. It actually is for people we are called to serve. Is that for her now she can freely serve her own team, but also her clients if she chooses to. So Sarah, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show, and we surely put all Sarah's links and goodies in the podcast page. And if you guys, I know she's in Nashville. That's the place I haven't been yet. I have been in 3 continents, 3 states in USA, but not that state. So I need to somehow make a trip there.
Yes, come visit.
Yeah. Well, come over to Switzerland too,
Yes, it's on my bucket list. So yes.
Oh, come on. It's better than bucket list, okay? Just come over.
Yes.
Yeah. So just guys, just check the links, information in the podcast page, okay? So Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Kelly. It's been a privilege.
Thank you. And if you like this video and this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with others so more Christ-centered leaders have the opportunity to consume this type of valuable content. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can click on the screen, go to the next business growth videos, and I will see you in the next episode.